Good morning. Good morning, Lil. Hello, sausage. Hey. Isn't it a beautiful morning, Lil? It's a stunner. It is a stunner of a day. It is, sausage, yeah. Get you some breakfast in a minute, Get you some breakfast. Beautiful girl. Breakfast. Today's major job is get the garlic in. So we've got two varieties, Kingsland Wight, which is a bog standard one, you always get Kingsland Wight, and Czechmate. Excellent. Both of them are hardneck varieties. I like to grow hardneck varieties because you get the scapes, and also we never grow enough garlic that we need to store it long term, and softneck garlic stores better, but we're never going to grow enough garlic for us to actually use for an entire year. We'd have to put we use a lot of garlic, we'd have to put like half the blooming allotment over to it. So hardneck is perfectly good enough for us storage wise, and we get the scapes. Now scapes are glorious. Scapes are the flower spikes that come out from the top of the garlic, and they are absolutely divine. They're so delicious. Like garlic scape risotto, hello. Anyway, yeah, it is garlic time today, and we're going to be doing a bit of a hodgepodge in terms of planting. So I'm going to do the same thing I did last year, which is I'm going to grow them all in pots because we have a real problem with white rot in our soil. I'm not sure which beds have it, but every single bed that I've tried garlic in so far, they've had white rot, which means that when you harvest them, they look really fine, they look great, start dying back. When you harvest them, it's just like mush underneath the soil, which is incredibly disappointing and disgusting, which is not a good combination. So I'm going to go in pots again this year, which means with compost, so not our own soil, and I'm going to be using the leftover compost from the potatoes that we grew in pots, and also adding in some new compost, and I will kind of revitalise the soil with a bit of grow more, a bit of bloodfish and bone to give it a bit more oomph. But yeah, so it's going to be pots. And last year I was quite well organised, and I had all my garlic in like these polystyrene containers, and it was all really nifty. Well, I've used those polystyrene containers for carrots, so I don't have them this year. So it's going to be a bit of a hodgepodge of I've got two quite large pots down here that are ready to go, and I've also got the troughs that I grew the shallots in last year. We're going to do those for garlic. Fan-dabby dozy. Let's go. the sun's gone in. It's actually a bit of a relief. It's really hot. And what with it being change of season, it really haven't got the whole layers thing in action. I've got like a tiny vest top and a massive jumper. So I've either got freezing or roasting, like 2 options, no in between. Brilliant. Mum's exactly the same. She's got, but you've got about 1,000 layers on, haven't you? Yeah, she's got like gilet, thermal vest under that. Yeah, we're both basically dying of heat stroke at the moment. All right, so all of that compost is mixed up, and I've got 2 pots and 2 troughs. So I decided I'm going to do 1 pot and 1 trough for each of the varieties. And I suspect, I'm going to have some cloves left over because they need to be about 10 centimetres-ish apart. And I think I'm going to have more than that looking at those cloves. So we're going to risk putting some in a bed, and I'm not going to do any of the beds down this end because we've tried them a couple of years in a row down here, and white rot has been a real problem. So I'm going to try them in the bed that's next to the fruit cage that I was going to put the field beans in, but I haven't got around to doing yet. So we're going to have a go in there. Who knows, there might just not be white rot in that bed. So to plant your garlic, you tend to buy them in these big bulbs like this where they're all still together. You just need to separate them out and plant each individual clove the 10 centimetres apart. So you're not putting the whole bulb in the ground, you're planting all the little individual segments. You want to be a little bit careful when you're doing this to keep the skin on each of the individual cloves so that it doesn't come off as you're separating them, and also the nub where they're attached to the base, where their roots are going to grow from. You want to make sure that that comes away nice and clean and it doesn't snap off when you're separating them. Tell you what, these are some chunky garlic bulbs. I'm well impressed. So I looked for them in shops as per usual, couldn't find any, so resorted to ordering online. And these were from DT Brown's. I ended up ordering from DT Brown's specifically because they had the pink panther onions that I wanted, and I could order them at the same time, so that's why I got them from them. But I am well impressed with that. And look, you can see that is the hard neck. Hard neck garlic literally has a hard neck, which is like the base of that scape. So the flower spike, that's, you know, like what's left of it, the scape that makes the risotto of dreams. But that, sorry about the aeroplane, I haven't timed it well today, but the sun was out, so I had to come out. Yeah, that's a beast. Look at that. I just like popped the other one and there were 15 cloves in that one. This one looks bigger. So yeah, I'm definitely going to need to utilise a bit of bed space, but impressive. So an understandable question here is, why have I paid 3-4 times the amount for this garlic from DT Brown's as I would have if I'd just gone to Waitrose, for example, and picked up some garlic? Well, that garlic will grow if I buy garlic that I would be using in the kitchen and I plant it in the ground. That garlic will grow. But there's 2 reasons really why I've gone and bought garlic that's specifically been produced to grow more garlic. Firstly is varieties. So most of the garlic in the world is grown in China, but it's grown all over the place. And what you're buying in the supermarket is highly unlikely to have been grown in the UK, which means that it's not really ideal for this climate. And the varieties that we can get, I say UK, this is my example, but wherever you are, the garlic that is being sold to grow will be suitable for your climate. And these varieties, for example, are suitable to grow in the UK. So although they will grow, they will sprout, whether or not you'll actually get any kind of promising garlic from them in the end is debatable. You might be lucky, you might not. And the other thing to consider is diseases. So garlic, which has been grown specifically to then be sort of essentially seed garlic to grow another crop from, has been produced in a way that it's less likely to be carrying diseases than garlic that has been grown as a crop for culinary use. What you can most definitely do is save your own garlic from the year before that's been successful to grow the following year. However, I haven't saved any of mine. And also none of my cloves were particularly impressive. I mean, it was good garlic and we're really happy with the crop, but I wouldn't say any of them really compete with the size of these cloves. So as you can see, wasn't wrong. We've got absolutely loads of those left over. There's about 17 left over actually, which is more than I've managed to fit in the pots. But I don't want to overcrowd them in the pots. So I'm going to just repeat. Mum has very nicely mixed up the next batch of compost for me. So I'm going to fill another pot, another trough, get the Czechmate in, and then all of the rest of these will go in that end bed. I also have another peppermint chard that needs rehoming, so that's going to go in that bed too. So we'll have another full bed. Looking good. I don't think I needed to order so much garlic. Both of the varieties that I have chosen grow well in the south of the UK, which is where I am, which is handy. So Kingsland Wight is a classic. It's a French variety despite the name. It is considered to be one of the best culinary garlics. Beautiful, mild flavour. And it's a really versatile garlic. So it can be grown in the autumn, it can be grown in the spring. It's a good workhorse garlic. But the other one that I've got, which is Czechmate, is one I haven't grown before, but it's supposed to be a little bit more fussy, needs a bit more heat. But what it does have is pretty good rust resistance, which is nice, because not only do we have white rot, allium leaf miner and rust. If we can tick one of those things that it's not going to get, that would be great. And also the flavour of the garlic at the end is supposed to be really quite hot and spicy. So it's going to be quite a different one from the Kingsland Wight. So I'm really excited to try both of these. Planting wise, they are both the same. In fact, planting garlic is really simple. Each clove, pointy end up. You want to put them about 10 centimetres apart and about 1.5 inches down. And that's it. Okie dokie, that is the first lot in. We're keeping them in the greenhouse just to get them started. Last year I started all of the garlic off in little pots in the greenhouse, and then we planted them out. This year I've just stuck them in the pots and stuck them in the greenhouse. So when they're about this sort of big, we will chuck them out and they will be just sat outside the greenhouse for the whole of the winter. I've got to go and put in the spares in that bed at the top. Like I said, I've also got the remaining very long suffering peppermint chard that was the one that Hannah had in the display pot at her Hampton Court garden all those months ago. It's still in the pot, poor little sausage. So I'm going to get that in that bed as well, just stick that in with the other like perpetual spinaches up there, so it'll have some friends. We were going to sit down and have a nice cup of coffee and jam donut each, but Mum has already eaten her jam donut because she couldn't bear to know that it was sat in the shed. So she scoffed hers already, so I've got a jam donut to eat. But I probably won't have a cup of coffee because the weather is actually turning a bit now, which is a bit of a shame. We had that beautiful burst of sunshine though, so I'm glad we caught some of it. But I'm going to go and plant those garlic. Also running out battery on the phone, so if we suddenly disappear, you'll know what's happened. And if that is the case, I will see you up here tomorrow. We should have the shallots by tomorrow, so a bit more of the same. Oh. Jam donut, I mean, I can understand why she was consumed with need for eating it. It's a bit, I'm not that, I mean, I'm eating a jam donut, so this is going to sound like nonsense, but I'm not that much of a sweet person, but like I can't take my own lunch to work. Like if I take a sandwich with me, my entire brain power is taken up with knowing that I've got a beautiful sandwich to eat. So, and it's always gone by like before 11 o'clock, and then I've got nothing for lunch. Oh, good. So while I'm standing in here scoffing, you'll notice the pumpkins are now in the shed. Well, this morning when we got here, clearing some space to put the garlic pots in the greenhouse. Sorry, I'm licking my fingers, they're absolutely filthy. I hope nobody is offended by that. It's only soil. What was I saying? Yeah, so we got the pumpkins in. Notice, so we had all the pumpkins like laid out in the greenhouse and they were really sweaty. Like, that jam's really good, raspberry jam. Yeah, they were starting to sweat. So we've dried them off and brought them in here. So it's obviously just got too moist, too damp in the greenhouse for them, which is a bit of a shame. Only one though has rotted. One of the ichikukuris has started to go soft on top, so I'm going to take that home and make some soup with it this afternoon. Making soup in the rain, perfect combo. But yeah, so we kept the pumpkins in the shed last year and they were absolutely fine until we got frost, and I thought the shed was pretty protected from frost, but you know, we had that whopper of a winter where it got to -8. Well, all the water froze in the kettle, so it froze in here and then Unfortunately, the pumpkins froze and then they started to rot, so then we had to eat about 4 pumpkins in the space of a week. We ended up having to throw quite a lot of them away, which is a real shame because we hadn't noticed that they were going. So at least this time we've noticed that there's a problem. We've got them in here, we'll keep them in here until we're due some really cold weather and then they'll come home with us. But the name of the game is really to just plan to eat them. We've got to include them in the menu. God, this is delicious. Right, just gonna scoff this. We'll go and plant garlic. And everything. Right, just get that chard in. Actually, maybe I'll have to do that tomorrow. Yeah, I think I'm going to do the chard tomorrow.
Who's that, a sausage? You're very far down today. You are very far down today, madam. Hey, Soggy. Oh, Soggy dog. Come on, let's go.
Boy, is it wet up here today. The ground is like sponge, it's completely saturated. Oh look, this is good though. Netting is working. You see all the leaves at the back there? They've all been caught, which is pretty handy, which means they're not in the pond. So they come straight off this blooming tree here, drops all of its stuff straight into the pond every year. But yeah, netting successful. You can see underneath. The pond is pretty much clear. Perfect. Hey Lil, what are you up to, madam? Oh, for goodness sake. Somebody has been in my Minutina and Chimida wrapper bed. Can see they've dug all the way through all of those young plants there, and they've turfed a couple of these chaps out, or at least big old holes in the bottom there. I'll have to refirm them in. Oh, that's so annoying. And it's covered as well. They can't be getting in that end. But this end, I've got it just leaning. Look, there's a gap. Oh, so annoying.
Hello, girlies. Good morning, girlies.
Well, it's not good morning, is it? No. Late today. Good afternoon, girlie.
Pretty whirly gigs. Pretty whirly gigs.
It's a bit soggy, isn't it? Even though the sun's out. Oh, raining and sunny. Oh, good afternoon. Right, one lesson for anybody who is struggling to find the motivation to go up to the allotment at this time of year when it's just raining constantly. Start a YouTube channel, because then you haven't got a choice. This weather has been, I mean, I've literally just, there is blue sky, I can see blue up there at the moment, and the sun is out and it's gorgeous. But for the last like 4 days, it's been nothing but pants weather, and it has literally just been come up here, check the girls are all right, check Lily's all right, do all that kind of stuff, and then just scurry home again. And just to add to it, so today is Sunday, which is normally my editing day, but all I did this week was plant the garlic. And yesterday I went to the football, I went to see Torquay United playing Hampton and Richmond Borough, and turned into a bit of a long day. Thanks, darling. And I am not feeling at my peak today, I can tell you. However, I had to come up here and do something, and it's like, I say I had to come up here and do something. Like, there's always stuff to do, isn't there? And I'm just looking at this board next to me. There is always something that needs doing. It's just actually getting the oomph to get up here. So thank you. I had to come up here because of you, but actually it's gorgeous, and being outside is making me feel a darn sight better than I was feeling in bed at home. Right, what are we doing today then? So we've got the garlic in. I've now got the shallots, but I'm not sure where I'm putting the shallots yet. So I don't have any pots for them made up, because I've put the carrots in the pots that I was going to grow the shallots in. So top marks there, Jessie. But I've got things to sow. Mainly stuff to chuck into the polytunnel. I've got some Mizuna, which is just an all year round great, you know, lettucey type thing. I'm going to chuck some turnips in. We won't be eating them until spring anyway, but I'm going to get some in. This is going to go under the bed. This is one's going to go in the bed outdoors, but under the Enviromesh box. Also going to stick some spring onions in there. Don't know how well they're going to do. They might not even do anything until spring, but whoever it was who rampaged through that bed dug up all the spring onions I did have going, so I don't have any in. And also I'm going to put some lamb's lettuce in. Don't normally sow this late, but I'm going to put it straight into the polytunnel, so you never know, something might happen. I've got so much lamb's lettuce seed. Grow Your Own magazine was just giving it away, and I seem to have ended up with about 10 packets of it, so I might as well put it in somewhere. That is what I'm doing today. Oh, and also I'm going to plant that chard that I didn't get round to planting whenever we were here doing garlic. I know, it's exciting. Come on, in. Put him inside. Come on, Rube. Some up here, girlies. Up here. Still got sun gold coming, got loads of them up there. Actually, I will pick them today. A lot of this I'm going to take home with me today. I mean, that's just starting to yellow. That was that pork chop, that absolutely wonderful apple. But look, they're starting to split, and I just noticed on this side the Copper River has fallen off, so I will take that to ripen at home. I think it's safe to say, apart from the sun gold, it is officially end of the tomatoes. You're right there, madam. You coming in? It's not raining in here. Coming in? The parsley is looking fantastic. The basil is all still go, that's still going, but the Thai basil, well, obviously I chopped it all back a lot last week, but you can see it's just starting to kind of, the cold's got to it basically. We have still got quite a lot of peppers and chilies to pick in here, which is exciting. Are you all right there, madam? What are you doing? Hey, what are you doing? I'm picking chilies. Look, we've got these absolute stunnage in here, which I'm excited about. Loads of these chaps. I'm trying to show chilies, madam. I'm trying to show you, chaps, the orange hab in there. Yes, I know, darling. I know. It's nice and warm in here, isn't it? But look, my coriander is all doing okay. Out the way, madam. You're so muddy. You've got muddy feet, woman. You have such muddy feet. Right, so I've got chilies to pick, and the coriander is coming along nicely. I'm probably going to put a little bit more chard in here because some of them got slugged. I've got a couple that are still going strong. So yeah, probably take the tomatoes out and get everything else sorted. The tomato clearance, make some space to sow some of those Mizuma and lamb's lettuce. Give it a bit of a tidy up and pick some chilies. In the spring I took a bit of a gamble using this. It's just old like macrame cord, string, rope, whatever you want to call it, but I didn't know if it was going to just rot out in the soil, but that is still proper solid in there. So I think I'm just going to roll these up and hang them on the top here, and might even be able to use them next year because they are really solid. I've had it a couple of years where, I mean, halfway through the season, the string just rots off at the bottom where it's been damp, you know, at the base level. And then it's a real pest trying to hold the tomatoes up. I resorted to that, you know, that really bright, vibrant, like turquoisey green plastic string you can get. I resorted to that last year, but it's just not satisfying. And this still looks nice. Not that that's the most important thing, but still. I've left the sun gold. All the rest of them are gone, but I've left this one because they're tough as old boots. And last year it kind of carried on until mid-November. So I'm just leaving it. It's the one that's in the corner as well, so it's not in the way of anything. And the rest of this space, chaps, that's it. Tomatoes are over. But I've got this lot, which I hope are going to ripen up at home. And that's it. That is the end of the tomatoes for 2023. Hey, girlies. It is. It's all over. Oh, here we go.
Oh.
Not a bad haul.
No. Oh, nice chilies.
There's some really good chilies in there. Really good chilies. And then we'll ripen the rest of these up at home.
Oh.
These ones are very strange. They've kind of split like a souffle.
Yeah.
So they're long. Is the one that was supposed to be the Brussels sprout. You can see it clearly is not a Brussels sprout, it is a mutant spring cabbage. Bit of a beast though, isn't it? I'm sure we'll be able to get I'm sure we'll be able to get something useful from it. I've decided I'm going to stick some turnips in here as well. I'm doing a little variety that is called Petrovsky. It's a yellow turnip, and if they come to good, actually produce turnips in the early spring, they'll be absolutely delicious. They're such a good flavoured turnip. You pick them when they're just under golf ball size and they are a joy. However, the last couple of years we've been having a really hot early spring and so much overwintered stuff has just bolted before it's actually produced anything. The advantage of turnips in that sense is that when they bolt you just get lovely turnip tops to eat. So either way we should be good with these. The chard plants that I've just added a couple of extras to are fine with bolting as well, never really have too much of a problem with that. Spinach, on the other hand, has been a problem for years. We haven't had any decent spinach for about 4 years, I'd say. Because hot spring and hot autumn with a crappy summer really doesn't do spinach any favours. This end section here that's right opposite the doorway, I'm going to sow some lamb's lettuce. Like I said I was going to, I'm also going to put the mazuma in here. So over winter, what we should have in here growing away is chard, turnips, I've got some spring onions. I do have some spinach seedlings to go in, but I'm not wildly confident about them. We'll have the lamb's lettuce, the mizuna, the basil should hold on a little while, but that will definitely go, and most of these peppers will be out of here. The parsley will still be going strong over winter. The coriander is all going well, that should last the whole winter. And I do have some winter lettuce seedlings on the go in the greenhouse that I will dot through here when they're big enough. Well, when they're not quite so in danger of being slugged. But yeah, so that is what we're going to have growing in here over winter. Oh, it is, actually you can't tell on the camera. I'm always surprised by that, but you can't tell. It's actually getting really quite dark. It's about 4:30 and we are losing the light. But I'm very pleased that we've made some progress in the polytunnel. Always sad when it's end of tomatoes when you're taking them out. But still, you know, onwards, and it's not really onwards and upwards, is it? It's just the relentless marching of time. On that note, I'm going to go and put that single peppermint chard that I've had in the pot in the ground over there because it deserves it. Last thing I've got to do is just plant that chard. Cheers, chaps. Well, I think it's safe to say this hasn't been the most productive week of Plot 37, but two major jobs were done. We got the garlic in and we got the tomatoes down, so I think that still counts as a win. It wasn't completely wasted, despite the weather being awful. And actually, we've got a new storm coming in. This coming week, we should have 2 quite good days, and the rest of it looks horrendous. So we just had Storm Babette come through. Was it Babette? I keep calling it bavette, like the cut of steak, but I think it was Babette. But it came like straight north of us and straight south of us. We just completely missed it here. But this new one looks like it's coming like right in the gap that Babette missed. So we're going to have quite an interesting tail end to this week. So I better get as much done as I can early in the week, I think that's telling me. There is also the fact that earlier I was very confused by how dark it had got so quickly, and I've only just realised on returning home that the clocks have gone back. I seem to have, I mean, I knew it was happening, but I'd somehow sort of missed that it was Sunday already. And anyway, that explains it. That explains why it got dark at 4:30 today. Yes, that mystery has been solved. So yeah, basically chaps, not an enormously productive week, but two major things out the way. The polytunnel is now pretty much set for winter. Those chili plants are still going strong, so I'm not doing anything with them yet, although next week I think I am going to take out the sweet pepper plants because they're starting to lose their leaves. It's just got too cold for them. I'm umming and ahhing, undecided currently, about whether or not I'm going to try and save any of those chili plants over winter. Decision not made yet, so we'll find out next week. But yeah, the polytunnel, big changes in there this week. Sad times. I find it really sad taking the tomatoes down. But actually, like, thinking back on it, it wasn't that bad a year for tomatoes. It wasn't that bad. I keep thinking it was a really terrible year, but actually it just was a late year. Everything just came really late. But what we did get was pretty good. Fingers crossed next year is a better summer though, because I just want that feeling again when you've got so many tomatoes that you're just freezing them and juicing them and acres of tomato soup. Well, we didn't have any of that this year. So hopefully next year. Something I do have to seriously do though is go through, I mean, I know we did the tomato tasting, but some of the tomatoes weren't on that. And I have to go through and kind of work out which ones of this year's lot I want to grow for next year. Because there's already a queue of exciting tomatoes on my desk for this coming year. Way more than I have space to grow. So I'm thinking about like shuffling them off to other people and then they can do the test. So I might be spreading tomato seed across the whole allotment site this year, but we'll see, because there's no way I can grow all the tomatoes. I'd have to turn like the whole plot over to tomatoes. Yeah, and then I'd have to cover the lot because they'll just get blight. But good news, really, really good news. You know that Bulgarian one that I was desperate to save the seed from? Got just masses of seed from that one tomato that I got. I have enough to repopulate, so I'm very chuffed with that. Anyway, this was only meant to be a really quick cheers, chaps. So, cheers, chaps. Huge thank you to everybody who's here week in, week out, who comments and gives me the thumbs up. It really is, means a lot. Thank you very much. It really is amazing on that Wednesday morning when I come. So I do my comment answering on Wednesday. It's like 24 hours after the video's gone out. And I'm always amazed just like by the number of comments that I've got. It's really lovely. So yeah, cheers to you. Cheers also to my patrons whose names appear at the end of this vlog and who keep the vlog running. So basically what I'm saying is cheers to everybody. Cheers. And cheers to getting a couple of days of sunshine in this absolute quagmire of rain.